My story takes place in 19th century Eastern Europe. It's a Jewish tale. There was a man and his wife. They'd been married for 10 years, and they did not have children, which they dearly would hope would happen. Well, the husband went regularly to talk with his Rebbe and ask for a blessing for his wife. But the Rebbe would say to him, "I have no blessing for your wife." Well, finally, the wife got so concerned and distracted that she said to her husband, "Go to the rabbi, ask him what we must do. We'll do anything to have a child." Well, the husband went to the rabbi, who said, "There is a solution, but it's difficult. It's going to be very costly for you." So the husband said, "Well, let me speak with my wife and I'll come back." He talked with her and she said, "Anything, let's do anything. We'll do anything to have a child in our home." So the husband went back to the rabbi and asked what to do. The rabbi said, "First, you must sell everything that you own, and prepare yourself for a journey. Your wife will need to find her own way. Maybe she can visit her family." So the husband went home. He and his wife sold everything that they owned and were able to come up with 300 coins of silver. The rabbi said, "Now you must go to see the seer in Lublin and ask him what to do, and pay attention, do everything that he says." Well, the husband started on his journey and he walked a long way and he got to Lublin and found the seer and asked for an audience, but the seer made him wait. The man had no money and was bound to keep that money. He'd been told to save it, or when it was necessary, he would know when that would be. So he had no money. He had to beg for food and find shelter wherever he could. He waited for a week. He waited for 2 weeks, and he almost wanted to go back to the seer and ask that he please have his audience, but he didn't want to offend the seer and be sent away. Well, after 3 weeks, the husband was invited in to see the seer. He walked into the chamber and the seer was reading, studying. So the man stood there patiently waiting. The seer looked up at him and said, "I know why you're here. Many years ago, you were betrothed to a young woman for 4 years, and you left her without speaking with her or her parents." The husband was taken aback. I had totally forgotten about that. I don't even remember her name. Her name is Miriam Shifra, and you must ask her forgiveness. What you must do is go to Balta, and in 2 months' time, there will be a bazaar in Balta, and you must find her and ask her forgiveness. If she forgives you, I believe that God will release a soul from heaven to be a child in your home. So off the husband set for Balta. And he walked and he walked and he walked and he got there, and again, he had no money. So he had to spend the time begging for food and finding shelter, waiting for the bazaar to start. After 2 months, it began, and he walked day and night up and down the aisles in the bazaar, asking everyone he saw, "Do you know Miriam Shifra? Have you seen Miriam Shifra? Do you know where I can find her?" And no one knew of her, knew where to find her, and had even heard of her. Well, it was the last day of the bazaar, and the husband was absolutely bereft. If he didn't find her today, his quest would be lost. Again, he stood at the gate and asked everyone he saw, "Have you seen Miriam Shifra? Do you know where she is?" No one had. Well, it was late in the day. The last merchants were packing up their belongings, and it started to rain. So the husband took shelter by a store, but the storekeeper shooed him away. Across the square, he saw 2 women, and he started to go to approach them, and they took shelter underneath the eaves of another store. And as he approached them, he noticed that one of the women was tall, very beautiful, had on a most beautiful dress. It was made with a very rich fabric and had intricate designs and jewels studded through it. It was beautiful. Well, he realized that they were of a different class than he was, and he started to back away when he heard the woman speak to her companion, and she said, "See that man over there? Years ago, he betrayed me, and now he's trying to run away from me again. Well, the husband stopped and he said, "What, was I betrothed to you?" And she said, "Yes, and you probably don't even remember my name." "Are you Miriam Shifra?" "Yes, I am." Well, he started weeping and he said, I am just so sorry. I'm begging your forgiveness. I know I can't right the wrong that I did to you years ago, but is there something I can do now to gain your forgiveness? If you don't forgive me, my wife and I will never have children. If you do, there's a chance that we will. I am truly sorry. And Miriam Shifra looked at him carefully and she realized that he really was repentant. So she said, "Well, I don't need anything, but my brother, who is a scholar in a town nearby, has a daughter who is ready to be married, but he cannot afford her dowry or her wedding. If you go to him and give him money so that that will happen, then I will forgive you. Tell him that I sent you." Well, the husband looked down and was still weeping, and when he looked up to thank her, she was gone. He looked everywhere for her and he couldn't see her. He looked around the corner. She was gone. So the next morning he headed to Sioux Block where the brother lived and easily found him and approached him and said, "You seem troubled. What's the problem?" The brother said, "Well, my daughter is due to be married and I need money for the dowry and for the wedding. If I don't have 300 silver coins within 3 days, the wedding is off." Well, the husband was delighted that the amount of money that he had to give was exactly that amount. So he handed the purse to the brother, who said, "Well, you're a stranger. What is this? Why are you giving me money?" And the husband said, your sister told me to come and find you and give this to you." "My sister? When did you see my sister?" "Oh, just 2 days ago at the bazaar in Balta." "That's not possible. Come with me," said the brother. And he took the husband to the graveyard where indeed there was a grave and a headstone with Miriam's dates, and she had died 10 years earlier. Well, quite a mystery. The brother invited the husband back to his house and they sat and talked, and the brother said, "Tell me the whole story." So the husband did. And when he got to the point of meeting the women, the brother said, tell me what she looked like. Tell me what you saw." And he said, "Well, she was tall and beautiful, and she had on the most beautiful gown. It had intricate patterns. It was of a rich fabric, and it had jewels studded through it." The brother said, "Wait a minute." He went into the house and he came back with that dress. He handed the dress to the husband, who said, "That's it." And they both noticed that the fabric was damp, as if it had been in a light rain. And then there was a voice that said, "All is forgiven." And the husband started weeping, as did the brother, because he heard the voice as well and recognized it as his sister's. Well, the husband stayed for several days. The wedding took place. It was a joyous occasion. And he left to go back to see the seer in Lublin to tell him what had happened. The seer said, "I know what happened. And let me tell you that the doors of repentance should always be open to those who sincerely care, and the doors of forgiveness should always be open. I give you a blessing. Your lineage will be long and fruitful, and your children and grandchildren will be students of the Torah." And so it came to pass. This is a story called The Dead Fiancé from Howard Schwartz's book, The Leaves of Eden. Thank you.